Voices, community stories, past and present, in association with 91.3 KXCI, presents Radioactivism.
My name is Ariel Flowers. I used to really hate that the first 11 years of my life were spent in Douglas, Arizona. It's a small, closed-down town where the most exciting thing to do was go to Walmart with my grandma. Life there had been lonely, boring, and stagnant. No malls, museums, zoos, or shows, nothing. But it was only recently that I realized that growing up in a small, closed-in town had its benefits. Douglas was a place where a lot of people knew me as Marianne's granddaughter, or that really quiet girl, and where little could be kept private, whether you liked it or not. School was like a condensed version of the town itself. Most of the kids socialized in Spanish, leaving me out of a lot. I was the weird one, the loner bookworm who loved Japanese anime and manga. I didn't belong there, and I felt stuck, like that was how life would always be. I grew up understanding that my mother was unhappy, and that Douglas and its people had not been good to her. My grandmother always told me, "Ariel, if anyone ever treats you the way your mother was treated, you come tell me." My family needed more than Douglas could give, and one day the inevitable happened. My mother told me we were moving to Tucson. It was no surprise. My stepfather needed work, and my brother needed better doctors. It was all the push she needed. Now, most people wouldn't think that moving a mere 2-hour drive away could be a culture shock. I had visited my cousins countless times in Tucson. I thought I knew what to expect. I was wrong. I remember that my first day at school, standing in the courtyard, I looked at the other students and got my first surprise. There were African Americans and Asians. My school in Douglas didn't have any. There were also white kids and kids I couldn't tell what they were. I'd never seen so many natural blondes in one place before, with their pinkish skin and light eyes. However, school was still school, and students were still students, and I was a student determined to do well. I was so excited about my classes. English class was poetry and Greek mythology, things I studied as a hobby in Douglas. I was in heaven, but my euphoria soon wore off. There was no avoiding lunch in the large open courtyard, where everyone had their place. Kids were grouped together because they had certain common qualities, not because they liked each other. They were so beyond me, I wondered if we were really the same age. They seemed sophisticated. I felt like a hick. They talked on cell phones, swore like old men, and the girls wore makeup, lots of sticky makeup. Their eyelashes reminded me of thick, hairy spider legs. But Tucson wasn't Douglas, and things changed. I made friends, really good friends who also liked anime and manga. I'll be graduating this year, and looking back on it, I feel that even though I disliked Douglas and what it did to my mom, I can't help but be just a tiny bit grateful for us having lived there. Because of Douglas and the people there, and my mother, I learned early on why it's important that I be good to those around me, because what I do now can follow not only me but them for years to come. I think that is one of my greatest accomplishments.
You've been listening to Radioactivism, stories written and produced by youth ages 14 to 21 through Voices, community stories, past and present, in conjunction with 91.3 KXCI. Find out more about this and other Voices programs at voicesinc.org or at our downtown office at 48 East Pennington.